today's video is about race, judging people. So people need to stop judging people. You can't judge me because of my skin tone. You feel me? Because my dad is Puerto Rican and my mom is black. And at the end of the day, Caucasians, cowboys back in Texas in the 1600s used to round up the Indians and round them up. And they knew that the Indians were Mexicans. They rounded them up, tied them to the back of their horse with a rope and dragged them while their skin came off their bodies. They used to burn them, hang them on trees just like they do Negroes, because all this is blood sacrifice, all about rituals and ceremonies. So with that stating, people, stop judging a book by its cover. People need to stop judging people. Stop judging a book by its cover, because at the end of the day, you can't judge a person by their skin tone. You feel me? You can only judge a person by their blood type. Yeah, by their blood type. Everybody is different blood types. You can only judge a person by their blood type. Rh negative is not mixed with Neanderthal. It's not mixed with animals. Rh positive, positive blood, like A positive, AB positive, O positive, they're all mixed with animal DNA, the Neanderthal. So with that statement, people, stop judging a book by its cover. If you don't know somebody, get to know them. You feel me? I understand that you can't trust nobody in this world because this world is wicked. This world is evil. But at the end of the day, you can't be evil yourself. So you have to trust. Even if you do get hurt, you have to put yourself out there. Because if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to find love. You're never going to find out who is trustworthy and who is not trustworthy. So not trusting people is operating in the spirit of fear. If you have confidence, you don't have to fear. You don't have to be in a low vibration. Worry about if you trust this person or if you trust that person. If your spirit takes that person, then that means they're meant to be around you. Like my mom, like I tell my friends, like my mom used to tell me, it's people that is meant to be in your life for a short time, and it's people that's meant to be in your life for a long time. So it's your choice, your journey, your path to figure out who is meant to be in your life for a short time and who is meant to be in your life for a long time. So with that stating, they want us to hate each other. That's why in these hoods, black people are killing black people, but we're screaming out Black Lives Matter. Black actually means white. Yes, and white actually means black. Everything is backwards. So y'all actually saying white lives matter. And the Zionists, the Khazars, the Ashkenazi Jews, the Zionists, the Cabal, the Boule, the Freemasons, they are behind Black Lives Matter. Yeah, so research that. They are behind Black Lives Matter. So, people, you're special, black people. Your melanin is condensed sunlight. You are carbon-7, 12-strand DNA. Find out what's your blood type, because different blood type is different God type. Different blood type, different personality type. So, find out where is your ley lines and where you were born. And find out your natal chart, your birth chart. And find out who you are.
Joni Ernst was caught coordinating with dark money groups. Washington's broken.
Let's look at some very disturbing drone footage that's been widely shared around the world. This is almost certainly over northern China, over Xinjiang. Can you tell us what is happening here?
I cannot see, this video. This is not the first time you show me. I still remember last year you showed me what is happening in Xinjiang.
In Xinjiang,
but,
exactly.
But let me tell you this. Xinjiang, have you been to Xinjiang yourself?
No, I never have.
You know, Xinjiang is regarded as the most beautiful place in Xinjiang. There's a Chinese saying, you do not know how big China is.
Ambassador, that is not beautiful coverage, however, is it?
You know, Xinjiang, that is exactly what I'm going to tell you. Since 1990, Xinjiang has completely changed because there's thousands of terrorist attacks. People cannot...
That was 10 years ago. Can I ask you why people are kneeling, blindfolded and shaven and being led to trains in modern China? Why? What is going on there?
I do not know where you get this videotape. You know, sometimes you have a transfer of prisons and prisoners, you know, in any country.
But just what is happening here, Ambassador?
I do not know where did you get these video clips.
These have been going around the world. They've been authenticated by Western intelligence agencies and by Australian experts who say these are Uyghur people being pushed onto trains and taken off.
Let me tell you this. The so-called Western intelligence keeping up make this a false accusation against China. They said 1 million Uyghur has been persecuted. You know how big, how many population Xinjiang has? It's just about 40 years ago, it's 4-5 million. Now it's 11 million people. And people say, you know, we impose, we have ethnic cleansing, but the population has doubled in the 40 years.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but according to your own local government statistics, the population growth in Uyghur jurisdictions in that area has fallen by 84% between 2015 and 2018. 84%.
That's not right. I said, well, I gave you an official figure. You ask me, I gave you this figure as a Chinese ambassador. This is a very authoritative figure. In the past 40 years, the Uyghur population increased, the population in Xinjiang increased to double. The population doubled. So there's no so-called restriction of the population. There's no so-called forced abortion and so on.
Believe you me, we've seen a lot of mornings. And eating the small bits of cheese stuck to a McDonald's wrapper is the right way to start a morning. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
It stands today, and it's difficult to predict what the final nationwide system will look like that Beijing finally decides upon. Overall, the central government of China has been analyzing these regional pilots for years now to see what works and what doesn't work for when they launch the nationwide system later, which is tentatively scheduled to be later in 2020. The nationwide system might include everything from all the regional pilots, it might pick and choose certain parts from different systems, or it might include almost nothing at all from any of them. We just won't know until China reveals more details later. However, there is plenty of room for some extreme speculation. So here is a potential preview of everything that might be included from examples across all of China's current regional pilots. So, based on the various systems already in place, activities that could supposedly increase your social credit score once the nationwide system is in place would be things like donating blood, paying your bills on time, donating to charity, signing up for volunteer work or community service, taking care of elderly family members, or being a model employee at work, along with more, weird activities, like publicly praising the Chinese government on social media, or assisting the government authorities with cracking down on political dissenters or religious dissidents. But what I find a lot more interesting than the activities that can raise your score, though, are the various fun activities that can lower it. Under the current regional pilot in the city of Suzhou, getting caught cheating in online video games will negatively affect your social credit score. It's also been speculated that playing what the government considers to be an excessive amount of video games will also hurt your score. So here's a big F to all the gamers in China if that ends up finding its way into the final system. Other things that can negatively affect your score that might find their way into the final system include things like participating in anything on this list of groups that China considers a cult, an insincere apology in court for a crime committed, spreading false rumors or fake news on the internet, posting anti-government messages on social media, not visiting your aging parents frequently enough, participating in protests against the Chinese authorities, paying your bills late, blasting loud music on public transportation, which, to be fair, is actually kind of reasonable, but also things like ordering takeout without picking it up, or scheduling something like a doctor's appointment or a hotel reservation and not showing up, along with other things like not sorting your waste properly or committing traffic violations like jaywalking or running a red light. Currently, under the systems in Shanghai and Jinan, a citizen's score can be lowered for walking their dog in public without a leash or for not picking up their poop. If enough of these dog-related transgressions take place, the city can legally take your dog away from you and you can get slapped with up to a 5-year ban on owning any other dogs. And this leads us into the bizarre world of potential rewards and punishments. A higher score can potentially lead to some pretty great benefits like priority admissions for universities, priority resume viewings by employers, cheaper public transportation, free gym access, shorter wait times in hospitals and government agencies, discounts at hotels, and potentially generous tax breaks, among other things. Punishments, on the other hand, for lower scores can include some pretty ridiculous things, like being placed on a flight and high-speed train ban, and potentially a ban on public transportation in general, which, along with a ban on getting an exit visa, effectively traps the recipient into being a modern-day serf unable to leave their land. Other punishments include an ineligibility to hold government jobs, losing access to private schools or universities, losing access for children attending private schools or universities, being restricted to only a low-speed internet connection, a ban on renting hotels, and the weirdest of all, potentially becoming the subject of extensive public shaming campaigns. Lower score citizens may have their photos and ID numbers placed on big LED screens at busy public intersections or displayed on movie screens at theaters before the movie plays, like a weird kind of ad where you're supposed to laugh at real people. But Chinese social media companies are also helping the government out with this. In the city of Nanning, the social media app Douyin, basically the Chinese version of TikTok, partnered up with the local courts to broadcast pictures of people with low social credit scores in between videos. While China's biggest dating app, called Baihe, has already begun allowing users to publish their social credit scores inside of the app, which leads to the implication that higher scored people will do better in online dating versus people with lower scores. China is already preparing a massive investment into nationwide surveillance to help assist the system once it's finally rolled out. In 2019, it was estimated that there were already over 200 million CCTV cameras in operation by the Chinese government across the country for surveillance purposes. But by the end of 2020, that number is expected to skyrocket to well over 620 million cameras nationwide, almost enough for one camera for every 2 people in the country, many of which will be equipped with new facial recognition technology that will potentially be able to catch somebody doing something in public, like jaywalking and lowering their social credit score. And as of June 2019, China has already denied 26.8 million airline tickets and 6 million high-speed rail tickets to individuals in the country who have too low of a standing under the current regional systems. And it's not just individuals that China is potentially planning on assigning scores to, but entire corporations might get their own individual scores as well. Corporations in good standing under the system will receive things like tax breaks, while corporations in poor standing will get harsher, increased tax rates. And as the 2020 deadline approaches for the launch of the nationwide system, it continues to remain largely under development. We know that the system will be in place only in mainland China. The special administrative regions of Hong Kong and Macau will be exempt. But other than that, we'll have to wait and see what China announces. And so far, China has remained silent. But if you're impatient